Forearm is divided into two places, as we said, flexors and extensors. Okay. So first, I will dive into flexors. Flexors, the ones that can flex the hand. If you're trying, if you're trying to flex the hand this way, what works? If you're trying to flex the fingers into a fist, what works? Okay. So flexors, of course, we're gonna look at notes later, but flexors, they are situated in the anterior compartment of the forearm. Of course, this is the anterior side of the body. That's the anterior side of the body. The arm situated this way is the anatomical position. This is the anatomical position. When you relax, your body kind of goes into this position, okay? Or imagine you're lying on bed and you just relax your arms on bed. Your arms will be situated like that. Imagine this person in the screen is lying down. That's how it will be situated. So these things are anterior, okay? So flexors are found in the anterior compartment of the forearm. Okay. Now, when we talk about these things, I want you guys to separate I want you guys to separate this part of the like the flexor compartment of the forearm. I want you to separate it into um, layers. Okay. I want you to separate it into layers. And give me a second. Okay, let's separate it into layers. Uh, some books separate it in a different way. Just give me a second. I don't want to um confuse you because this part is already confusing. Let me just check something. Mm. Yes. All right, good. Um, okay. So I think let's do it this way because it's easier. Okay, so mhm, mhm. Okay. So let's do it this way. So I want you to divide the anterior compartment of the forearm, muscles of the forearm, the flexors compartment into three layers. Three layers. The superficial, the intermediate, and the deep. Okay? Again, I want you to divide. And before we go in, listen, it's not gonna be easy. Okay? But I want you to slowly move with me. And I want you to divide this compartment of the forearm into superficial, intermediate, and deep. And in those three groups, you have names that you have to memorize. Okay? In those three groups, you have names of muscles that you have to memorize. Okay. Now, to go in, to go in, I need you to slowly write with me these names. Okay. First one that we are going to learn is the, give me a second now. Yes, careful. That's not the one. Okay. Hide. First one that we are going to learn is Pronator Teres. Pronator Teres. Okay. Pronator Teres. First one. First one is Pronator Teres. The second one that we're going to learn This, yes, this is under superficial. We're starting with superficial, the most superficial, then intermediate, then deep. Okay? Pronator teres. The second one, flexor carpi radialis. Same, we're not going into intermediate now. We're starting with superficial. Pronator teres, flexor carpi radialis. And as I go, I will hide it for you to see how the muscles are arranged. The third one is palmaris longus. Palmaris longus. Palmaris longus. The fourth one is flexor carpi ulnaris. Flexor carpi ulnaris. Okay, I'll repeat. Now, you might think this one is part of the flexors. Okay? No, it's not. Don't ever think like that. It might be present like this in your eyes, but look, it's more on the back. Deal? Don't worry about this now. It's not part of the flexors. The first thing that we have to start is Pronator Teres, Flexor Carpi Radialis, Palmaris Longus, Flexor Carpi Ulnaris. Again. Pronator Teres, Flexor Carpi Radialis, Flexor Carpi, Palmaris Longus, and Flexor Carpi Ulnaris. P, F, P, F. Okay? For the superficial layer in the flexor compartment of the forearm, P, F, P, F. Okay? Now, one thing you have to note, near the muscle here, the first muscle, you've written P, Pronator Teres. Yes? Right? In bracket, most lateral. Most lateral. And near F at the end, flexor carpi ulnaris, number 4, most medial. So what are we doing? Moving from the most lateral to the most medial muscle. Lateral, medial. This is how you should memorize it. And now I want you on your forearm, on your body, okay? Try to look at your forearm and with me decide how you are going to know where these muscles are. Okay? So you can situate 1 second. Let's stop here because I need you to also know how to look at it. This is your right arm. Now use your right arm, okay? And look at it. Okay? Look where your thumb is. And then there's a bulge here at the side of your arm. You can see it, that there's a bulge. Okay? And this bulge continues up until it reaches behind the thumb. Okay? Forget about it. We're going to hide it. Now, go to this part here near your pinky and go to the other side. Touch this part, your medial epicondyle. Okay? Touch your medial epicondyle. And with your index finger, move towards the thumb, reaching here. That's your pronator teres. From your medial epicondyle, here, near your hip. Okay, this is your hip. So, of course, now you know exactly what I'm talking about. This part, it's the bone. Medial epicondyle, near your hip. Okay? And then, using your index finger, just keep until you reach here. That's your pronator teres. And you will notice that all the muscles, as you follow along, go in this direction. They are starting here and their arrows moving towards the thumb. Okay? And this is how you should memorize on your body or on your forearm how these muscles are located so that when you are inside the test, you are not lost and you can use your forearm to label and start saying, yes, P, F, P, F. So it starts like this, P, F, P, F. Okay? Very important. Pronator teres, flexor carpi radialis, palmaris longus, flexor carpi ulnaris. P, F, P, F. Starting from the medial epicondyle and it goes down towards, pointing towards the thumb. They kind of go like this. يعني, just to give you a general image of how you should um, follow it along. Okay? It's like, it's like kind of like these lines go like this until it becomes straight. Okay? They start curve and they go out and then until they become straight. The flexor carpi ulnaris, it starts at the medial epicondyle, okay, medial epicondyle, and continues downwards towards the ulna in a straight line. But pronator teres starts at medial epicondyle and ends somewhere along the line of the radius. Okay, that's why it touches this. So it's very important while we study, we imagine those muscles and we memorize them on our forearm so that when you are memorizing, it's easy for you when you can like trace the muscles along your forearm with your index finger. Okay? So superficial layer, pronator teres, flexor carpi radialis, palmaris longus, flexor carpi ulnaris. This is the superficial layer.
And all of those, you said the origins from the medial epicondyle, right?
We for now, yes, but don't worry about the origin insertion. I will go over them in a little bit. Okay?
يعني ما نبلش بالنوتس يعني.
No, no, no. Now I just want you
Okay.
to
Okay.
kind of get the idea of where everything is situated and the ability to name the muscles in what layers, because that's the first part of your answer. Okay? So we divided the muscles into superficial, intermediate, and deep. Now I want you to just write superficial, the names, intermediate, the names, deep, the names. Okay? So that when you start narrating your answer, he knows that you know the names because that's the first part. And there's a high chance, very high chance. If you finish naming the flexor muscles, superficial, intermediate, and deep, and then go to the extensor, naming the two layers in them, superficial and deep, every muscle there, he will stop you and he will move forward to the other person. He will not need you to mention any origin and insertions. That's what happened with me. So I'm telling you how I answered, and we can write notes about them after, of course, when we finish naming them, because naming them is the first important thing. People failed because they forgot one name. Do you understand how important naming them is? Before even starting about talking their features, okay? Or even their actions or what they do. First important is naming them, okay? All right. Pronator teres, flexor carpi radialis, palmaris longus, flexor carpi ulnaris. That's the superficial layer. Now we go to the layer below it. I'm gonna hide the muscles. Now, please go where you have intermediate layer, not right, the only muscle here, flexor digitorum superficialis. Flexor digitorum superficialis. That's the intermediate layer. And listen, guys, sometimes, sometimes, some of you might get a question, that says in your pins on a real specimen, highlighting here. Imagine he gives you a pin and he says, please, 1 second, let me switch off the light. And you go and he says, give me this muscle. And another pin, he says, give me this muscle. Now, you as a person who didn't really study the ends of these muscles and where they go, this is where origins and insertions are so important for you. Because if you didn't, he can put you a question like this, and it came to me. And I say, name me the spin or name me the spin. Watch. Now we're in the intermediate layer. The yellow is what we refer to. And this spin can come to you like that. You might be shocked to see that this pin is labeled here, but this pin comes back to flexor digitorum superficialis. So if the pin is labeled here, your answer on your sheet is 1 second. For this one, flexor digitorum superficialis. And your answer on this one, it's in a deeper layer, but we will study it in a bit. Please write, now you've done your intermediate layer, go to the deep layer section and write number 1 and write this answer. Flexor digitorum profundus. Fundus. Okay. So the one that enters between the fibers of superficialis is profundus, and it is found deeper to it. Very important. Very, very important. Flexor digitorum superficialis splits into two and stops where? Look, another hint. Stops where? At the intermediate phalanx. The profundus goes, crosses it, pierces it, and goes and joins at the distal phalanx. And one thing that you have to know, and I will send you all this on your camera, when I'm able, look, I will send you this, okay? For everyone, just give me a second. Flexor, just give me a second. Superficialis. And this, 1 second. Flexor digitorum profundus. Ahmed, please look at what I sent you, and I'm going to send both Habiba and Anas these as well. Where's Habiba and where's Anas? Okay, guys, look at your WhatsApp. Look at your WhatsApp, and you will see this is the first picture that I sent you is the action of flexor digitorum superficialis. The first picture, where your whole finger is bent. The second picture is flexor digitorum profundus, where only the tip of your finger, you're able to bend the tip of your finger. This is the action of flexor digitorum profundus. And so when people have injuries in their forearm, they had an accident, okay? And you see that their forearm is cut or like some deep injury. The orthopedic comes to him and he says, hey, can you please move your finger for me and make a fist? Then the patient tries and let's say he's okay. Then he knows now that his superficialis is functioning. Okay. Now he asks him, okay, your tip of the fingers, are you able to bend them on your own? Are you able to do these motions with the tip of the fingers? And let's say the patient is not able to, then we know that there is injury in the flexor digitorum profundus. Is this point clear?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, I hope it is clear.
Yes, yes.
All right. So now Let's move to the deeper layer now that we have finished these pins. It's not all people can do this. Yes, but in general, you know what? Not okay. I understand what you're trying to say. All right, let me do this. Let me do this. Because Habiba said that not everyone is able to bend the tip of their finger. I need you to instead do, just give me a second, and I'll show you how this test can happen. Okay? I'm gonna send you a video, Habiba. Let me hold my finger here and I can bend. Okay? So I sent you a video, Habiba, and yes, people cannot maybe do um, the tip of the finger alone without holding the finger as a whole. And I'm gonna send Ahmed and Anas what I sent Habiba. But this test is possible. And let's say the person is not able to bend this tip of the finger like that, then we know that the injury is in profundus. Okay? So please watch the video, guys, because yes, some people cannot just bend their fingers without actually holding it. But if we hold it and we ask the patient to actually move the tip of the finger and he doesn't, then there's injuries in the tips of these fingers. So I just wanted to show you, apart from the clinical way, how these muscles control the motions of the fingers and how the animation where the endings of these fingers are so endings of these muscles are so important, either on the intermediate phalanx or on the tip of or on the distal phalanx. And so these motions, now you kind of understand when I get to the action of this muscle, what part of what finger or what part of what hand is moved by such a muscle. Okay. All right. So now let's move forward. Uh, we finished the intermediate layer. I'm gonna hide it. Now we go to the deep layer. We already finished one of them, which is the flexor digitorum profundus. See, it goes all the way to the tips of the fingers. The two other muscles in the deep layer, one, flexor pollicis longus, all the fingers, and by the way, let me get back. Let me get back. Hmm, one second, just bear with me, please. Getting into the deep, getting into the deep, we talked about flexor digitorum profundus a little bit. But hey, be careful. Flexor digitorum profundus and flexor digitorum superficialis, they don't provide the thumb. These two muscles are only on the four fingers. Two, three, four, five. Not on one, not on the thumb. Okay? Profundus and superficialis. See? In yellow. There is no yellow here. Doesn't go here. And also here. Doesn't go to the thumb. Profundus. Now, what provides the thumb? Flexor pollicis longus. Anytime you hear pollicis, you will understand that we are talking about the thumb. Hallux is the big toe. Okay. And then finally, pronator quadratus. Pronator quadratus. These are the muscles or the flexor compartment of the forearm, the anterior compartment. Okay. Three layers. Number one, superficial. Number two, intermediate. Number three, deep. The superficial is made up of four. PFPF. Pronator Teres, Flexor Carpi Radialis, Palmaris Longus, Flexor Carpi Ulnaris. Four. We remove these. We are now in the intermediate layer made up of Flexor Digitorum Superficialis. We remove that. We have three muscles that we have to focus on. Flexor Pollicis Longus, the quadratus. What is it called?
Pronator quadratus.
Yes, Pronator quadratus and the Flexor Digitorum Profundus. Deal? Okay?
Okay.
All right. Now, I want to go and show you the opposite side before we talk about details of all. Okay? Because when you start answering, as we said, we need to know all the layers and all the names before we dive into the details of each one and the function of each one. Okay? And the origin and insertion of each one. Because I'm going to study smart. I am going to study smart. I need to make sure the names and the layers and the general function of these compartments is memorized. Just in case I get busy with studying and he asks me this question and there's so much detail about it, at least I know the names and the compartments and the general actions crisp clear. And I can, let's say, guess a little bit of the functions in there, okay? At least. Because when you are studying so much anatomy, you can forget the littlest details. And the littlest details are sometimes the things that we lose. So I need to make sure names will compartments will general function is clear in my brain. Just in hopes I get answered, I know what to answer, and he kind of maybe gives me three instead of failing me completely because I didn't know or remember one name. Okay? All right. Now the next one. Extensor compartment on the posterior part of the forearm. Extensor compartment on the posterior of the forearm. Okay? And we're gonna do the same. We're gonna name them. Just give me a second. The superficial group and the deep group. Only two groups. And you see my screen, صح?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay. The superficial group, remember, I hid it here. Do you remember that I hid it? Please, please, please do not start telling him brachioradialis because it's not part of this. Yes, you might think it's on found here, but it's not. That's the view. It's found on the part of the extensors, back of the forearm. Number one, brachioradialis. And hey, always, always, please, when you are memorizing this, memorize it on your hand or on your arm, on yourself. Now look, this is the dorsal view, back. The first thing that I am able to see is brachioradialis, and it can be touched from the front. And that's why you have a bulge on the lateral side, top part of your forearm. This bulge is called brachioradialis. Okay, I will hide it. The next one, extensor carpi radialis longus. Here, extensor carpi radialis longus. Extensor carpi radialis longus. If we have longus, we definitely have a brevis. Longus is long, brevis is short in anatomy. So the long extensor carpi radialis, hide, and then the short extensor carpi radialis. Where is it? Just give me a second. No. Here. Extensor carpi radialis brevis, which is the short muscle. Okay. Now we have extensor digitorum. Where is it? Give me a second. Here. Extensor digitorum. Just like we have the superficialis and the profundus controlling fist movement of the forearm, this muscle controls extending the four, listen again, the four fingers, 2, 3, 4, not the thumb. Okay? Extensor digitorum of the hand. Again, in this part of the forearm, there are certain muscle controlling some fingers, like extensor digiti minimi. This one here. Extensor digiti minimi, controlling only your pinky. Hide.
And we're still in the superficial layer, right?
Yes. Look, they're all here. I'm here now. Extensor digiti minimi. Okay. Now extensor carpi ulnaris. Here. Extensor carpi ulnaris. And finally, we have anconeus. Anconeus. Okay? Anconeus. I'm gonna hide the other groups because it can confuse you. Give me a second. Anconeus. Now the deep group, look at them. First, supinator. Here, I'm just going, these are the names here. You can write them down and I'm just showing you, okay? Supinator, hide. Abductor, look, abductor pollicis longus. What does abductor? يعني look, يعني when we get to the action, when we get to the action of the muscle, you can sense the function of the muscle from the name. Abductor, it abducts, means it moves something away from the body. Okay, number one. Pollicis, pollicis is the thumb, so it moves the thumb away from the body. Longus means that its length in the arm is long. So the long abductor of the thumb. Here. Abductor pollicis longus. Hide. See, it's long. It starts all the way here and goes into the thumb. Hide. Now, extensor pollicis brevis. Extensor pollicis brevis. Extensor, it extends. What? The thumb. The brevis, it's short. The short extensor of the thumb. Here. Extensor pollicis brevis. Hide. Extensor indices. Extensor indices. Here. It extends the index finger. And finally, there's one here. Yeah, we said it actually. Wait. Extensor pollicis longus. Yes. But wait, I think I missed something. Okay, let's reset this one.
No, we didn't say it. We said abductor pollicis longus.
Ah, okay, perfect. So you get it, right? It's here.
Mm.
We repeat one more time. Uh, I'll run through. I'll run through the superficial and deep. So yes, I missed the longest. طيب. Brachyradialis. So first superficial and deep. Superficial group, brachyradialis. Now look, most lateral to most medial. Then we have extensor carpi radialis longus. The long extensor carpi radialis. Now the short extensor carpi radialis, okay, brevis, which is the brevis one. Then we have extensor digitorum of the hand. Extensor digitum minimum. Extensor carpi ulnaris. Then we have anconeus. Then we go deep now. We're in the deep. Supinator. Abductor pollicis longus. Extensor pollicis longus. Extensor pollicis brevis. And finally, extensor indicis. خلاص. Do you see it?
Mm.
Okay. So now I need you to make sure to memorize these names within the groups just like it is here, as you wrote it on your book right now. Okay? Now I'm telling you, once you do that and slowly and calmly, there is thousands and thousands of names. And if you don't want to go into the details, because we want to study smart, we want to study smart. You don't want to go into the details of origins, insertions. No. Say the muscle and try to say what the action is while you narrate the answer. And this is what we will go in next. I'm giving you slowly information so that you keep the most difficult parts to the end in hopes that he can let you go further. خلاص. Skip the question, you pass this question. That's how we study smart, okay? I'm not telling you to not study everything because studying everything is making you become a good doctor and especially if you want to become a surgeon. And that's my يعني أنا بقول I'm telling you guys I teach anatomy because I want to become a surgeon one day. Okay. And people like me, and if you want to be like me, okay, and I don't know what you want to do, maybe you want to become a dermatologist, you don't need that. Okay. People like me مثلا, they're interested in surgery. I had an interest in surgery. They have to know everything about anatomy, origin, insertion, action, nerve innervation, vascularization. Because when you're a surgeon, you need to know where you're cutting and what you're cutting and what's there. Okay. If you don't want to become a surgeon and you just want to pass anatomy and become something else, study smart. Okay. Make sure you know everything, the basic names and compartments and everything. Then, while saying the answer, take it slow. Okay. And when you say the name of the muscle, just say randomly general information about it. Let's say, for example, abductor pollicis longus. It's the long abductor of the thumb, abducts the thumb away from the hand. And then move forward to the next one. Extensor pollicis longus, and مش عارف إيش, and say what this does. And then when he's still looking at you at the end, you can start saying about origins, insertions, um, stuff like that. Okay. All right. Now we have finished the general information. We have finished the general information. Um, let's go back and I will give you now the details about each. Okay. And what you need to. Now, uh, I don't know if you have space in your notes, but I do not want you to go write notes about a muscle away from its name. Like you start now, oh, okay, now he's going to give me details. All right, let me start writing the details. Okay, Pronator Teres, origin, insert. No. Where you wrote Pronator Teres on your sheet, you wrote superficial, Pronator Teres, number one, Pronator Teres, right? Write small arrows beside each muscle because I'm going to give you 1 to 2 words about each. Origin, insertion, action, and innervation. خلاص. Okay? Huh. We go here, Pronator Teres. Info, that's what I need you to write. Origin, medial epicondyle, and I will isolate. Huh. This is the muscle. For you who's writing notes now, you now have a sheet of compartments, groups, names. Near the name, give me out 1, 2, 3, 4. Four dashes from the name itself. Small, write in small. Origin, medial epicondyle. خلاص. Medial epicondyle. Insertion, insertion, lateral radius. خلاص. Action, weak flexion of elbow joint. Weak flexion. So if it contracts, what it does, it can flex the elbow joint weakly. Okay. Flex elbow joint weakly. Nerve supply, median nerve. انتهى. خلاص. Okay. Here. Isolate. Origin, again, medial epicondyle. Insertion, okay, action of the first one, Pronator Teres, flex elbow weakly. Flex elbow weakly. Okay. Hey, Pronator Teres. Okay. Number 2, Flexor Carpi Radialis. And guys, the questions you are asking me, they're written here. خلاص. Okay. That's why this animation is good. I don't know if you see it. Origin, medial epicondyle. Insertion, look. Base, look. Base of second and third metacarpal. Base of second, third. Base, second, third, meta. That's what you write. Base, second, third, meta. Action. Flexion of wrist. Flexion of wrist. Flexion of wrist. And also it says, خلاص, you can stick with flexion of wrist, but if you want to be more clever, abduction. Look, it says abduction of the hand. Why? Let's say this contracts. It's connected on this edge of the hand. Sorry. Let's say this contracts and it's connected on this edge of the hand. So imagine that the contraction can go this way. So the hand goes this way. The other one, it's connected here. So if it contracts, it can take the hand this way. Abduction. So this is abduction and that's adduction. Okay. The flexor carpi radialis takes the hand, flexes the hand and abducts the hand. Not adducts, abducts. Okay, here. Nerve supply, median. Again, artery supply, no need for artery, خلاص. Nerve supply, median. Okay, so far so good. Move on.
Okay.
Isolate. Again, origin, medial epicondyle. Insertion, something called palmar aponeurosis. Palmar aponeurosis. Palmaris longus. Inserts into palmar aponeurosis. Here. Action, it tightens this, which in turns flexes the wrist. خلاص. So action, flexes wrist. Nerve supply median. Again, nerve supply median. Okay. Now last one. Medial epicondyle, origin, inserts, pisiform and hook of Hammett. Flexor carpi ulnaris. Origin, medial epicondyle, insertion, pisiform and hook of Hammett. Action, flexion of the wrist and adducts. See, it adducts now. Adds towards the body, or it can flex the hand. Nerve supply median. Yes, no, careful. This is the flexor carpi ulnaris. Sorry, the nerve supply is ulnar nerve. Yes, the flexor carpi radialis is supplied by median nerve, not radial nerve, median nerve. The flexor carpi ulnaris is supplied by the ulnar nerve. Okay, خلاص. ها حبيبي. ulnar nerve. That's the one. I brought it back. Origin, medial epicondyle. Insertion, pisiform and hook of Hammett. Action, flexion of wrist, abduction of hand. Nerve supply, ulnar. Okay, move on. Now, the turn of this muscle. In the intermediate layer, you have flexor carpi flexor digitorum superficialis. Flexor flexes. Digitorum fingers, digits. Superficialis, the superficial one. The superficial flexor of the fingers. That's basically the meaning of the name. The origin, three spots. Three spots. Medial epicondyle. Sorry, not three spots, two spots. Um, Give me a second. Humeroulnar head. Yes, exactly. Medial epicondyle.
Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar,
Give me a
Allahu Akbar.
Yes. So origin, the humero ulnar head. humero-ulnar, the medial epicondyle of humerus. The radial head, there's two heads, 1 and 2. Radial head is the middle third of the radius. That's the origin of flexor digitorum superficialis. From here and from here. Insertion, shafts of middle phalanx. Look here. Middle or intermediate phalanx here. Shaft of middle intermediate phalanx. But look, 2 to 5. Not here, not the thumb. 2 to 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Nerve supply median. Nerve supply median. Origin, medial epicondyle. One head, the second head. Middle third of radius. The insertion, shafts of middle phalanx 2 to 5. Action, the most important one, flexion of metacarpophalangeal joint and proximal interphalangeal joints of 2 to 5. But just say it flexes the fingers. That's all that you have to see. Nerve supply median. Okay. Here. What they're saying is metacarpophalangeal joints. It flexes this joint. And you can also say proximal interphalangeal joints of 2 to 5, which is this one. Flexion of these joints. So basically, this muscle is responsible for the flexion of these joints and these joints to help close the fingers. Nerve supply median. Okay, move on. Flexor digitorum profundus. Origin, medial border, the posterior and the medial border of the ulna. Insertion, tips of the fingers, 2 to 5. Or you can see distal phalanx 2 to 5. And the action, it also flexes this joint, but it's also responsible for flexion of this and this. So it flexes everything. But the most important thing is that it's attached here. It also helps to the action, flexes wrist mainly and the fingers, okay? Nerve supply median, but also ulnar, because for this muscle, half is by median and half is by ulnar. Okay. All right. Now, moving forward. flexor pollicis longus. Flexor pollicis, the long flexor of the thumb. The long flexor of the thumb. Origin, interosseous membrane. Here. Insertion, the palmar side of distal phalanx of the digit 1, which is the thumb. The palmar side, here, near the palm, of distal phalanx of digit 1. Nerve supply median. What it does, it's all related to first digit. Flexion of metacarpophalangeal, flexion of interphalangeal, okay? Abduction of the wrist, okay? These are all actions, but just know it abducts, sorry, it flexes the thumb this way, okay? Flexor pollicis longus. Innervated by median nerve. Right. Now this one, it's not a very important one. We don't need to talk about it so much. خلاص. Okay. So this is the flexor compartment. All of them innervated by median nerve, except profundus half is by ulnar, and flexor carpi ulnaris by ulnar. All of them are by median nerve. So many of them are from the medial epicondyle. So many of them are from the medial epicondyle. So much in common here. It's not very hard, but you need to memorize it as soon as you're done here. That's my advice. Okay, now okay, let's take 5 minutes break, and then we'll continue the extensors. I think today it's a dense lesson. I think maybe we'll be, if we can finish the hand, we'll be optimistic, but let's just finish the forearm and then we'll see. Let's rest for 5 minutes. Okay, are we guys ready?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So now, okay. Now I have finished the flexor compartment. Wait, give me a second. Okay. All right. So now let's reset. And let's do the extensor compartment. Likewise, I need you to only do the notes on the sheet that you've written. So brachioradialis, what we need to learn is origin lateral supracondylar ridge. Lateral supracondylar ridge. Of course, on the humerus. Insertion, lateral part of styloid process of radius. Lateral, so we say styloid process of radius. Again, Habiba, you didn't miss anything. This is the first muscle in the extensor compartment. It's called brachioradialis. You will see in the superficial group, you will see that you wrote the first one to be called brachioradialis. And brachioradialis, likewise, right, origin, insertion, action, nerve supply. Origin, lateral supracondylar ridge of humerus. Insertion, styloid process of radius. Nerve supply, radial nerve. And action, flexion of elbow. Okay, but we need to remember here something. It helps in supination and pronation of forearm, of the forearm. Okay, not the hand, the forearm. The brachioradialis is a weird one. Okay, we need to know origin, lateral supracondylar ridge of humerus. Insertion is the styloid process of radius. Action is supination pronation of the forearm. Nerve supply, radial nerve. Radial nerve. Okay, next. Extensor carpi radialis longus. Extensor carpi radialis longus. And I'm going to isolate it. Extensor carpi radialis longus. Lateral supracondylar ridge. Again. Insertion. The dorsal base of second metacarpal. The dorsal base of second metacarpal. the dorsal base of second metacarpal. Okay. Now action, just because it's inserted on the wrist, then it now controls mostly the wrist. So it will extend and abduct the wrist. It will extend. Why? Look, isn't it connected on the dorsal end? So if it's connected on the dorsal end, it will extend the wrist. Let's say the wrist is like this, it will cause this movement. Okay. Or it can abduct away from the body. Why? Is because it's situated here. If it contracts, it can take the hand this way. Okay. Right. The origin, lateral supracondylar ridge. Lateral supracondylar ridge of humerus. Insertion, dorsal base of metacarpal 2. Action, abduction, and extension of the hand. Innervation, radial nerve. The extensor digitorum of the hand, of course, now it will extend the four fingers. It has no relations with the thumb. The origin, again, here, not the lateral supracondylar ridge, but in this case, lateral epicondyle of humerus. They almost all originate from that position, okay? The superficial layer. The insertion, dorsal digital 2 to 5. Dorsal digital 2 to 5. And you can see that it is a weird insertion. So what we say, dorsal digital expansion. Dorsal digital expansion of second to fifth digits. And what it does extension of all of the joints. Yes, we can say that it extends the fingers, but to be specific, extends metacarpal phalangeal, extends proximal and distal interphalangeal joints. Okay. Nerve supply, radial nerve. Nerve supply, radial nerve. Okay. Finish this one. Finish this one. We finish this one. And extensor. Yes.
Hey, Tom.
Yes.
You know, when we start to speak about this issue,
Hmm.
نحكي دغري هدول الانفورميشن ولا بالاول نعطي الاسماء؟
As I said, names first. Names and groups first.
Okay.
Okay. And then you can start repeating them and saying, okay, for flexor carpi, let's say, and then you see all of that. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Brevis. Yes, we didn't do brevis. Flexor carpi radialis brevis. Origination from lateral epicondyle, just like the longest. Then insertion, dorsal base of third metacarpal bone. The action, extension, abduction of the wrist, of course. It will extend the wrist and it will abduct it. Okay? If the wrist is like this and the insertion is here, if it contracts, it will pull like this. Make it straight to help you wave. Or to wave your hand, this muscle can help do this motion. And all the muscles that are attached on this side will help do this motion to help you do by Y, okay? Nerve supply, radial nerve. Okay. Now, extensor carpi ulnaris. Again, lateral epicondyle of humerus. And now the nice thing is, fifth metacarpal bone. Now you can see, of course, it will adduct the hand and extend it. Move the hand towards the body, or it can also extend it, like because it's an extensor, of course. Nerve supply, radial nerve. Nerve supply, radial nerve. Nerve supply, radial nerve. Okay. Lateral epicondyle, fifth metacarpal bone, extension and adduction of the wrist, radial nerve. Hide. We finish this one. Now, extensor digitorum minimi. Again, lateral epicondyle humerus. You can see most of the superficial ones, medial epicondyle. Most of the superficial one on flexor, it's medial epicondyle. Most of the superficial ones on extensors, the ones we're doing now, lateral epicondyle. And it goes all the way to the tip of the finger of the pinky. Extensor digitorum of the fifth digit. And it will do extension of these joints, carpo-metacarpal joint, metacarpophalangeal, and interphalangeal joints. It will extend them. It can also adduct the wrist and also extend it. Okay. For this one, the innervation, you have the posterior interosseous nerve. The posterior interosseous nerve.
just a question.
Yes.
هلا يعني a logic question.
Hmm.
When we speak about this, we will never have the time to say all this. He will stop us at some point, right?
Yes, and that's what I told you. That's what I told you.
Mm,
With the compartments, start with the groups, start with the actions of general compartments of the flexors and the extensors, what they do,
mm,
then sectioning it into layers, then section it into the names in the layers, then try to say the actions of these muscles. But I'm telling you, it's impossible that he's gonna wait for you and there's 100 students to say origins, insertions, actions of every fucking muscle. Okay?
mm.
But
But I mean, bro, this issue is so big. It's so much to memorize, and we have still 45 more issues.
yes, but I'm telling you,
Mm,
sometimes this motherfucker can go there and tell you, hey, tell me origin insertion here.
mm,
And that's why when I give you a lesson, I have to give you my lesson fully. I cannot,
yes, yes, I understand.
yes, I cannot cut you short لأنه I have to
But yeah,
show you how anatomy is and you decide.
mm,
But I
yes.
advise you, if you want to become a surgeon, do it. If you don't want to become a surgeon, study smart.
I'm
Study,
gonna
you know?
I'm gonna memorize everything. بس راح أحاول أفهمه لأنه we have time صراحة يعني.
Yeah, yeah. So don't worry. And listen, it makes sense to you
Mm,
because once you section it, you kind of see almost all the muscles come from the same place and they insert in a certain way for according to their name. It'll make sense. It's not hard.
mm.
You know? I know it's hard, but wait, give me a second. Mhm. Yes. Don't learn don't learn here posterior intraocular, just say radial, okay? Because posterior intraocular is part of the radial nerve, okay? Now, then we go Anchineus. I don't want anything about this. I don't want anything about supinator. Here, let's write a little bit about those muscles. I don't need so much. But abductor pollicis, you will know that it will start somewhere in the forearm and it ends in the thumb. Abductor, it's the abducts the thumb. خلاص. Note about this one, abducts the thumb. Note about this one, it extends the thumb. Extensor pollicis longus. Extends the thumb. A note about this one, also extends the thumb, but it's a shorter one. A note about this is it extends the index finger. And look, when you go to pins, watch, watch. I can know the muscles from this without even going to look at the forearm. For example, this muscle, it's extensor digitorum of the hand. Okay, I will hide it. This muscle is extensor indicis because it's in the index finger. This muscle, it's extensor digiti minimi because it's in the digital, it's a pinky. Now, this muscle is extensor carpi ulnaris. Yes, see? Now you have two here. One of them is extensor carpi radialis longus, and one of them is extensor carpi radialis brevis. This is longus, and this one is brevis.
But bro, is it exactly like this on the real specimen?
Yes,
لأنه
yes,
I think
yes.
لأنه
It is
لما يفرجينا real specimen يا زلمة بفوت بالحيط.
انت بتفوت بتحيط because it's new to you, but I'm telling you it's the same exact thing. Look here, I'm telling you this one is extensor pollicis longus because it's the long one. It's extending all the way. Look, there we go.
Mm.
Easy. Extensor pollicis brevis. There we go.
Mm. And
Extend
this was the example with that we can شو اسمه flex the distal phalanx, right?
yes. And this one here is the shortest one in the thumb. It's the abductor pollicis of the thumb, the longest one.
Mm.
Okay. Now the brevis of the abductor pollicis is here, somewhere here. But do you get it? Do you kind of get it? Now I finished all the extensor muscles. I cleared them. Look, I can go here on the flexor and do the same from the hand only. From the hand only. Because I'm trained well. And if you train yourself well, خلاص. This one here, palmaris longus. Why? خلاص. I know the ending here is it's like that. Now, flexor digitorum profundus. Here. Flexor digitorum superficialis. Here. Now, I should go up a little bit because they end here, shorter. Now, I know Pronator Teres is here. It ends here. Sorry, hide this one. This is Pronator Teres because it ends here. خلاص, hide. And now, the one that is closer to ulna, it's ulnaris. There we go. Flexor, Carpi ulnaris, hide. The one that is going to the close to the carpal bones and ending at this is radialis. Hide. Okay. Then I have something that controls the thumb in the deep, which is what? Flexor pollicis longus. خلاص. Okay. So the key for you to know and be a profession in this is memorize where it ends. You will know what muscle it is. Because when you go to the pins, he can put you something and you're like, what the fuck is this muscle? Look at its ending. That's the key always. That's how I memorize it. But that's up to you. Okay. So this point is done. خلاص, we're done with this point. That's the forearm. We have 20 minutes left. Okay. I need to just ask you in general, how was this point? Is it hellish? يعني is it hard?
With the revision, it should be alright.